These aren't just great watches, these are legends. These are the brands that launched collections and changed how people look at affordable watches forever. Hey! There you are, and welcome to My Dude Watch. My name is Jason, and today we're looking at 10 iconic AliExpress watches. And with the AliExpress summer sale kicking off on June 1st, I figured there was no better time to revisit these watches that helped build this hobby. And trust me, you do not want to miss this. This is going to be fun. You know the deal. Grab a snack, pull up a chair, and let's talk watches. And let's do a really quick wrist check. Today I am wearing the Baltany S4101 dress watch, and this is a beauty. We have a full review coming up in just a few days. Now, before we jump in, these watches are not presented in any specific order. Today's video is about watches that have made a lasting impact and continue to wind up in so many collections around the world. And we're ready to walk through this gauntlet that is the 10 most iconic AliExpress watches during the summer sale. All right, here we go, and let's start with this one right here, and this may surprise a few people. Now, if you're newer to AliExpress watches, you might be looking at this thing and saying, Jason, what in the world is this doing on the list? For years, the conversation around AliExpress was mostly about homages. Then Merkur comes along with the Crossline sector, and suddenly collectors are looking at something that feels genuinely different. And the dial is doing a lot of the heavy lifting here. Multiple textures, beautiful sector layout, vintage charm, and a level of visual interest that really grabs your attention. What makes this watch special isn't that it has the best specs. It's that it reminds collectors that AliExpress brands could create something with personality. That's why people still talk about it today, and you can actually pick this guy up for around $115 during this sale. And this next piece is one we all know and love, and at some point, every AliExpress collector hears the same advice. Just go ahead and buy the SD1970. You cannot lose. And there's a reason for that. This watch became an absolute legend when it delivered sapphire crystal, an NH35 automatic movement, incredible lume, 200 meters of water resistance, all for a price that makes people do a double take. At the point when this came out, it was unheard of to get these kind of specs and toughness at a price like this. For a lot of collectors, this wasn't just their first Steeldive, it was their first AliExpress watch. And years later, people are still recommending it to newcomers every single day. And you'll be able to get this one for around $80 during this sale. Is it still the best value for money on AliExpress? What do you think? What's interesting about our third icon in today's lineup is this is another watch you can get for less than $100. This is a military-inspired masterpiece. It's the Baltany Dirty Dozen, and it pulled itself together and proved to the watch-buying world that collectors are interested in more than just divers. For a while, it felt like every conversation revolved around divers. Diver fatigue is a real thing. I've never had it, but it is real. Then Baltany started producing the vintage tactical bangers, and collectors absolutely loved it. The Dirty Dozen has clean styling, fantastic proportions, and enough vintage character to make you feel like you step back into time. Even now, if somebody asks for a military-inspired field watch on AliExpress, chances are this one gets mentioned. It has a very impressive legacy. Now here's a watch that proves timing matters. This is the Militado Murph, and it arrived at exactly the right moment. Collectors really love the look of the famous Murph-style field watch, but not everyone wanted to spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars getting there. Militado stepped in and delivered a watch that captured the spirit of the design while keeping it affordable. I mean, you can get this piece for around $70, which is unheard of. You get a clean dial, easy legibility, and everyday versatility. This thing just works. And sometimes an icon isn't about being first. Sometimes it's about delivering exactly what the enthusiasts want at exactly the right price. We'll put a link in the description just in case you want to check it out. Now this is where the AliExpress story starts changing. The Martin SN004 didn't just become popular, it put itself in high demand. It helped change the way collectors view Chinese watches, inspired by another legendary piece. The SN004 showed levels of finishing, quality, and attention to detail that many enthusiasts simply weren't expecting at the time, especially with AliExpress. For a lot of collectors, this was a watch that introduced them to San Martin, And after owning one, many collectors realized these brands were capable of competing with watches costing significantly more. The SN004 didn't just build a following, it helped build a brand. At $250, it's the highest watch in today's lineup, and it's worth every single penny. And before we continue, I just want to take just a moment to say thank you for watching today's video. If you are enjoying it, please consider subscribing to the channel. Love it or hate it, there's no denying the impact of this watch. The Pagani design PD1761 introduced a whole lot of collectors to AliExpress watch collecting. For many people, this was the first time they realized they could get a great looking everyday watch with solid specs without spending a fortune. I mean, look at this stunner here for around $60. That is insane. It's versatile, it's attractive, and let's be honest, they sold a mountain of these. The PD1761 became one of the defining watches of the Pagani era, and that's why it earns a place on today's list. Now, this one here represents the newer generation. The PX1707 arrived during a time when collectors were becoming more demanding. Affordable specs weren't enough anymore. People wanted better finishing, better bracelets, better quality control, and designs that stood out from the crowd. And the 1707 delivered exactly that. It can be yours during this sale for around $160, which is insane. You get high dollar styling, impressive finishing, and a watch that feels far more premium than any of us expected. It helps show just how far AliExpress brands have come, and this watch is still in very high demand. Now, more seasoned collectors already knew this watch was making an appearance on this list. Before some of today's big names dominated the discussions, there was Heimdallr. The Sharkey became one of those watches that enthusiasts constantly recommended to each other. Part of that was the quality, part of that was the value, and part of it was simply the fact that Heimdallr felt like an enthusiast brand before many others figured out exactly what that meant. For many longtime collectors, this watch brings back memories, and that's exactly why it's here. You can pick up this guy for less than $120, and that is a steal. Okay, let's break it down and just talk about value because there's no other watch that represents AliExpress value better than Addiesdive. The Addiesdive Tuna is built like a tank. It's rugged, dependable, loaded with wrist presence, and often available for prices that seem almost ridiculous. For example, you can pick this one up here in a couple of days for around $90. I mean, think of that. You get a tough-as-nails diver with a ton of specs for the cost of dinner and a movie with your lady. For countless collectors, the Tuna became the introduction to this iconic style of watch. And when you combine affordability with reliability, good things tend to happen, and that's exactly what happened here. I cannot recommend this one enough. So this next watch would almost be impossible to leave off of this list. This is the Seagull 1963, and it is loaded with heritage. This is one of the most important Chinese watches ever made, and here's why. It is special. Unlike many of the watches on today's list, this one comes with genuine history attached to it. You get the famous ST19 chronograph movement, vintage military inspiration, and a watch that introduced countless enthusiasts to the world of mechanical chronographs. This one here is around $185. It is charming, it's unique, and it's historically significant. And if AliExpress watches had a Mount Rushmore, this watch is carving its face into the mountain. That completes our list for the day, but we're not done yet. I want to give you a couple of honorable mentions, one of which is the Watchdives WD007. Now, I don't know that we'd call it a full-fledged legend just yet, but it's getting there. Also, let's not forget the Rudlin turbine. The only reason I didn't put this into the day's top 10 is because I recommend this guy so often on the channel. I've never done a full review of it, and I'm not even sure why. Well, there you go, 10 AliExpress icons. We also gave you a couple of honorable mentions as well, so that's a total of 12. We put links in the description just in case you want to go there, check them out, and see if they're right for you. Just remember, if you decide to make a purchase, My Dude Watch may get a small commission, but you don't pay more. Hey, you made it to the end of another video. Thank you for doing that. We appreciate you watching. If you enjoyed what you saw today, please take the time to like this video and subscribe to the channel. It'll only take you a second, but it really does help. All right, we checked the time, and it is time to wrap it up. So we will close the show. My name is Jason with My Dude Watch. We'll do it all again next time. But wait, don't forget, dudes can't be late.
Dudes can't be late.